Hello, you are listening to the Gamer Librarian Podcast, the best podcast you could find on this side of the multiverse. I am your host, Adrian, and today I will be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 Summer Game Fest 2025 and more. Afterwards, be sure to subscribe to be notified when future episodes are released and show your support by liking and leaving a comment. Thank you for joining. All right, it is a great, beautiful Monday morning, afternoon, I believe, 12:30. Yeah, 12:30. It's raining here, It's not as sunny or anything that I was looking for, which is pretty upsetting, but we are blessed with something perfect, something that shouldn't be outside in the rain. It just doesn't belong there, and that is the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, who'd have thought that we would have got one this year? It's just pretty crazy that all we had really had to do was just sit outside of a GameStop for a few hours, and that's pretty much it. We would be able to get a Nintendo Switch 2, and I have been loving it so far. I mean, I wish the catalog for launch was a little better. I haven't really tried out the GameCube games that's on there. I mean, that's old news, right? I've played every single one of those games that's online there, except for maybe Soul Calibur 2, and that's not even like that enticing to me. But Mario Kart. Mario Kart to me is worth the entire purchase. Also, just the other game, Welcome Tour, right? I think that should have been as part of the package that you get with the game. It should have been just with the Switch inherently. I mean, I don't think $10 is really that much of a difference. I don't think that they like why lock it behind $10 and be like, oh, we're just gonna vein entrance for it and be like, okay, maybe people might like it. I don't know. I just thought like it would be more beneficial to just be on the console because I don't mind putting out money for it. I actually think it's pretty fun. I think that the Welcome to Our Game has a lot to at least introduce to new people for video games and the console as well. People maybe have been very on the upkeep with all the new features, but it also goes into a lot of detail, just like how it just functionality works. It has a lot of diagrams and videos and things like that. It's very awesome. Even like the quizzes is pretty fun. So not just like the mini games, but I feel like people were probably more towards, like more interested in. I just feel like it was better with the information stuff about it, which is why I think it should have been a part of the Switch. It should have been like part of the either the intro when you booted it up and first charged the console, or just like been like, hey, here's the welcome tour. Go take it once you like go to the dashboard or whatever. But I've been having a blast with it. The welcome tour is pretty fun. I'm not gonna do everything. I'm definitely gonna try and get like all the little stamps or so. I'm not gonna try and get all those stars on the mini games. That's actually like kind of crazy sitting there forever. And then like the HD TV stuff, like you don't actually have to do all of them because you probably actually can't do all of the mini games in 100% of that game at least for now. I don't really know about maybe in the near future be a lot the technology be a little more accessible for a lot of people. I know I can't do that. I know I can't do the entire game right now, but the stamps and stuff, learning the little bits about the consoles and the controllers here. Right now, I'm using the Joy-Con little control thing that comes with it. I like that. I really like the Joy-Con little controllers, and it's not bad. Hope these Joy-Cons don't get Joy-Con drift or anything up later on. That'd be really nice. I'm no stranger to midnight releases. They're not my it's not my first rodeo with them for the Switch 2. I haven't done one for a console. That's really the first from what I can say. I don't think I really would have stayed anywhere for a console specifically, but I've done midnight releases for like Smash and Pokemon, the Arkham games. Yeah, it was actually really fun again being able to do that and see people outside waiting for the Switch 2 and everything. I thought that was actually really, really fun. And it was pretty cool talking to people and everything. And there's something else that I did. It was out of my comfort zone. I never did this. It was a pre-release for Magic the Gathering, Final Fantasy stuff. And so, if you've been keeping up, we are doing an unboxing of the Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering stuff. I got a few boxes and some other video game Magic the Gathering stuff to go through. So we're doing a video like that in the future, which is gonna be pretty fun, and I'm pretty excited. So it's been pretty nice doing that. Talked to some cool people at the TCGs stores that I went to, and I even got to play a few games. And I didn't do so well in the games, but it was all about fun, right? So it was actually pretty enjoyable. And Final Fantasy is something that we've been talking about here for a while. So to get to a few things, this will be about game announcements and everything soon. Final Fantasy Tactics, Avilice Chronicles. I mean, what else can we say about that? The remaster of Final Fantasy Tactics is going to be insane. So I've only ever played War of the Lions on the PSP, and now I'm just gonna be able to play the whole game again on the Switch, I believe. So I'm going to be doing that here on the podcast because I would never even finished it on War of the Lions. I just rented that game from Blockbuster, and that was basically it. It was a good time, and it's gonna be great to experience that game and like voice acted apparently, which is sick. And yeah, they got like original cast. I think I might have seen an announcement of that, but we're gonna go through that game. We're also been playing Final Fantasy IV and obviously the MMOs, just very intermittently with those games. Mostly Final Fantasy IV because we can play that on our phone. That's a lot more easier to play, of course. So to get into the game announcements because obviously, the Switch here is great, but we're gonna be talking about the games as they come out. I think the Switch is good so far, and no other game announcements for the Switch unless they're like third party. No real big Nintendo hitters. Although a weird thing to talk about is Game Freak is coming back with another game. I believe they made a game in the past, which was kind of a shock to see their name again. But maybe it's the same game that's just before. But they're making like a samurai action third person game, which is pretty sick. So I believe it's the same Game Freak that we all know and love, Pokemon, right? All that kind of stuff. That was just a weird thing to see here at Summer Game Fest, or maybe it was Xbox. It's kind of blurry. I just blend them all together here on the weekends when all these events come out. It's all Summer Game Fest here to us. So obviously, we're just gonna talk about the big one, right? The first one I'm gonna talk about, I kind of mentioned it before with Final Fantasy Tactics when it was announced. The state of play, Sony. We're just gonna do Sony first because I thought that was the more lukewarm of announcements for there. It felt like Sony wasn't even present at that one. I mean, yeah, they had Marvel and their Ghost of Yotai game, but where the fuck is Wolverine? Where's any Sony like property at all. I think that's pretty fucked up. I just think they're not doing their best here. I guess Metal Gear was there at the showcase, but it's gonna be like multi-plat game. It's not really the same. It's been multi-plat for a relatively long time, and yeah, I just don't think Sony was relatively present there this year. So obviously maybe Game Awards or something between now, like I know Japan has like their own Tokyo Game Show and stuff, which could be really cool. But besides the Marvel 4v4 tag fighting game that they announced, I mean, fuck Marvel vs. Capcom. That's gone, right? I think that's pretty obvious that that franchise is not really doing so well. They have the classic like collection, which is pretty cool, the arcade collection, but who's to say what's going to happen after Marvel versus Capcom Infinite in terms of that franchise? I just think that it's not really going to do so well. I hope that it would maybe in the future do a big return. I hope that maybe Marvel vs. Capcom does a big return, but with this Marvel's more Japanese featuring or artistic style centered tag game, I don't know what we're gonna do with that. I mean, it seems fun, right? I don't know necessarily whether that's gonna be good or not because I'm not a fighting game head. I'd rather the game just be fun for the whole audience rather than just be geared towards only Marvel vs. Capcom specific head people or Marvel fans, obviously in very big ways. I would rather just have a fun fighting game that's really cool for a lot of people, which would be pretty great. But this game has like a lot of pressure, I think, on its shoulders, being a 4v4 fighting game, first of its kind. There's been a lot of talk about that. There's obviously channels you could go and reference. I think Maximilian Dude will probably be featuring a lot on this game. So, I mean, as a casual fan who just likes crossover shit, Marvel versus Capcom stuff. I mean, this is like the pinnacle of crossover stuff. I don't think we've ever had anything cool like this kind of franchise stuff since like Marvel vs. DC, Smash Bros, like that kind of stuff in terms of like a real hard hitting genre defining game. Like genre defining. Like there's no other game that's a crossover and is a pinnacle for like a genre. I think maybe like Smash Bros in terms like it's still fighting games, but maybe a racing game like what was the one that was announced? Sonic's Crossworlds, right? Sonic Crossworld with Yatsune Miku has Joker from Persona and then Yakuza people, right? That's crazy. I just love crossovers. I love that all that shit. It's really cool to see. Now, Summer Game Fest had, I think, a lot more announcements. One that was like pretty much announced like the day before was Witcher 4 with the cinematic trailer for Witcher 4. Now, I don't necessarily care about Witcher anymore. I mean, I thought Witcher 3 was a really fun game. Um, it had really cool combat. It had really awesome like open world. You didn't necessarily have to do the story, or you didn't have to necessarily do any of the like side quests. You could kind of go your own like pace. And what I really liked about it was the card game mini game. That is what I super enjoyed. Now, the card game mini game was my absolute favorite. Truly, like, what was it? Gwent. Gwent was amazing. I would like to like try to play the physical game at some point. I know that they put out a physical version, I think, at some point, but the phone game that they had was really sick. I remember playing that in high school, and then the DLC. I never finished the DLC, but I will try to do it at some point. Now, I'm just not necessarily excited for The Witcher. I know that there's the show and all that stuff, but I don't really care about big open world RPG games anymore. Dragon Age Railguard really, really pissed me off, and now it's just like I'm until I play it, I'm not gonna call it like anything until I like literally see it. Now, a game that was returning, a game that I thought was never gonna come back ever, is Mortal Shell. Mortal Shell 2 is looking awesome. I mean that soundtrack and then that um like gameplay trailer with the actual combat was awesome. It looked way better than the first game, in my opinion. It just looked way better than the first game. There was a Game of Thrones game that was announced, which is like a RTS, real time strategy game. I'm more excited for that because we're gonna get like a game where it's like you can play as like all the factions and then maybe get like the White Walkers or whatever, and they win, and you get like hero characters. You're gonna get like big open like entire Westeros map. They'll probably do like random stuff, but I hope it's not like um Total War versus armies against each other. I would rather it be a little more like Civ, because you kind of want a little bit more of that diplomacy, that kind of strategicness to it with unit cities and all that kind of resource stuff rather than just like unit management and like traversal stuff. I'd rather just be more like Civ or something like Halo Wars, maybe a little something like that. I don't know. Um, Also returning Atomic Heart. Absolute shock. I mean, that was a real shock for that to return at the Xbox showcase. Really, that was actually really exciting to see. I think it was actually Summer Game Fest. See, like, as all this blends in together, it's really hard to remember what it was. So it seems like it's gonna have two games actually. There's like some weird second game, which like announcing two games all at once doesn't already sound very good. I feel like it's a mobile game. I don't remember what it was announced for, but I'm super excited just because it's Atomic Heart, right? It's gonna be something that we're gonna be following here for quite a while, and the trailer seemed awesome. Seemed like they'd be adding a lot new stuff, a lot new like mechanics, and aliens. Aliens, man, they're going to do aliens. It's awesome. Now the first game, I think, because I played it on Game Pass, it ran relatively well, but I still had a good time with it. I would not necessarily want to try and 100% complete it because I just feel like a lot of the side quest stuff is mundane, and I didn't really find all the weapons early on to be like worthwhile to try and like go and get. It was actually more fun to try and like do the story and stuff and experience the world. I was actually more keen on that, but the overall experience was actually really exciting. So the sequel is just gonna be really fun, I hope. So by then, with that game coming out on Game Pass, we'll probably have a lot more on the catalog for me to be enticed to subscribe to it. But it seems like Game Pass is already having a really good amount of reasons for people to subscribe to it, which is awesome. Atomic Heart is another reason I think you should go try it out for fans of like, I guess Bioshock, or I think they're going more of a Far Cry route with Atomic Heart. I think it's like a Bioshock world, but the gameplay style is more of Far Cry in a way, from what I could tell, at least from experiencing the first game and seeing more of the second game. And that giant cube, whoever the fuck is with the second game that they're doing, I don't even know. I think it's Mundfist the Cube, whatever it's called. Crazy. I'll have to do a little more research on that, but I'm so excited. Now they announced some more characters from Marvel Cosmic Invasion. We're getting a lot of beat 'em ups, and there's even like Scott Pilgrim returning in terms of a beat 'em up game. Awesome, super super sick. Gonna try and at least get Marvel Cosmic Invasion with my friends, and we'll play that at some point, and that's gonna be really really sick. Now, a game that I never really talk about here on the podcast is Hitman. Hitman is something that's really, really awesome. I never played the earlier Hitmans. I've only really played like Absolution, which is like a 360 game, and then whatever is the newer remake games, which I think are awesome. Their open world kind of sandboxiness to it is really, really amazing. And now they're getting a crossover with James Bond, with Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, what the fuck? That's super sick. I really want to see what that will entail for the game because it seems like it's about poker on like I think it's a cruise ship, like a poker cruise ship or a poker cruise casino. Maybe it's the actual casino, but I feel like I saw a cruise ship. Now I want to see what that's going to be like. I want to play poker in the Hitman world. I don't necessarily know if there's another casino style map in the Hitman games. I didn't play a lot of three, but I played a lot of one and two. But I don't necessarily remember if there is a casino one. Maybe I missed it. But I'm more enticed to play those games now. So I'm gonna try and maybe go back into Hitman 3, whatever is the newest one. That's probably has like all the content, and play that game, and then do like the 007 stuff. Because even the 007 new game that comes out, the remake of GoldenEye, that looks amazing. I mean, I thought it was going to be like maybe make it more of a tried and true. Now that is a remake, a real remake, which is so amazing. So I'm super glad that that's a franchise that's really kicking the 007 series. It seems like the heads there know what they're doing. So we also getting like more magical Indiana Jones content with their DLC for their game. I never played the game. I didn't really care. It didn't look all that appealing to me. I know a lot of people seem to be like it's a really good game. Uh, for if they played it or not, I couldn't tell. But from when it came out, the talk about it, it seemed like people really enjoyed it. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad that people at least enjoyed the Indiana Jones game. But that's not something that's super interesting to me, at least for now. So besides the video game announcements, I don't think there's anything else specifically to talk about just because I didn't write anything else of it down. I don't think they have any other announcements. Summer Game Fest just didn't have Resident Evil right now. Obviously, I'm just gonna play Resident Evil. That's really just not much else to talk about here. Stranger of the Heaven, I guess, looks kind of cool. I talked about Scott Pilgrim, and then Lego like Voyagers seems like a fun co-op game, which is pretty fun. Obviously, Mafia and Lies of P. I'm gonna be trying to play later. I'm not really super keen on that, but yeah, it's just those are the video game announcements. Not a whole lot else. I mean, I wish Nicktoons was returning in a better way rather than whatever this RPG game is. I wish it was Nicktoons Unite, but we'll see more gameplay on that. There's a Wu Tang Clan game, and that's relatively it. We're getting cucked out of Silk Song. We're getting cucked out of Silk Song. Like I don't know what else to say about that. I'm mad about the overtness of it with the Xbox um, console talking about, oh yes, it will launch with Silk Song, and like what the fuck? There's not even a Silk Song release date, and then we're getting like the Deadpool VR bullshit with that nonsense. Nah, me dislikey all that. Not a fan. But yeah, there's a lot of game announcements this week that have come out, and I think that's really awesome. It seems like there's a lot of really great titles coming out from not just big title franchises, but a lot of small indie devs like a fighting Sifu game made by a single, forgive me if I'm wrong, I'm just not remembering it correctly, but I believe it's Korean dev. That's so awesome. Just to see more of that single dev game stuff come out, and it looks like Sifu. I love Sifu. I'm gonna play that game. So I'm gonna look more into that. Whatever the game was, it just seems really really sick to play, and for it being a single dev game, like kudos. That's a reason enough for me to give you my money because you're living the dream, bro. I mean, that's awesome to have it like featured right there on Game Awards, and it looks awesome. The gameplay, at least what it was gameplay, right? Amazing, truly amazing. Yeah, that's pretty much, it for the game announcement stuff, I believe. There's not a whole lot else. Now, we have a lot of games, we're currently going through and all that stuff. There's obviously Elden Ring Night Rain, right? I beat the second boss, Gaping Maw, stupid bitch. We are going after this bug guy now, and as soon as I figure out what the hell's going on my PS5 with it shutting off, we'll see what happens. It just does like every 45 minutes it just shuts off, so I can't do a run properly for the most part. It's relatively irritating, but we got to switch too, so it's pretty nice. It's a decent relative trade-off, but probably gonna bring it to like a shop and be like, hey, it's like doing this, and I've tried these. Just like take a look inside, and I'll give them like money for it. Which will I really enjoy Elden Ring Night Ring. It's a really fun game. I wish it had 4 players though. That would just be a lot better. Just 4 people. Now another game we've been playing a little bit like Souls. It's another Crab's Treasure. I'm gonna be trying to play a little more of that game in the near coming future. Just gonna try and see how far I can get to it. I'm really liking it. It's really fun, cozy vibe. I'm really vibing with it. And, I love card games. Really, really love card games. And, physical card games like TCGs, they're all cool, expensive. Now, video game card games are relatively cheap. You can get them on sale, like one I did for, free. And then they have like, DLC you can get. This one's called Rogue Book. Pretty awesome. We're just gonna have gameplay for you, but you can just look it up and get gameplay at some point. But Rogue Book is a game where you pick a class for each 2 of the characters, and then you choose those 2 characters. They each get like certain cards based on those classes, and you go through a world book and you build a map and you fight monsters like an RPG, and it's relatively fun. I haven't beaten it, but it's pretty good so far. And besides those games, those on the PS5, we're not really playing any Xbox games right now. The Mario Kart World Tour game is really, really awesome. I actually really enjoy the open world game portion of it. So the open world is actually really enjoyable. There's a lot of secrets here. There's a lot of like puzzles, I suppose, but it's just cool to have a place to just like chill and play a Mario game. Just run around, drive, don't really do a whole lot. It's relatively cool. Now, besides these video games, right? We'll be going through Mario Kart just occasionally, kind of waiting for Mario Party and then Donkey Kong, right? Waiting for those games to come out just on the Switch here. Playing Final Fantasy IV, we mentioned that, but we also read books, right? Just intermittently, just as we go through, work and life and stuff. I try to read as much as I can. So we're reading "To Sleep in a Sea of Stars" by Christopher Paoli. Haven't gotten very far into it, but it has a pretty good start, and so I'm pretty intrigued to read it further. And so we'll just driving around here, playing some Mario, and that's part of what we've just been doing for the day. And I have a lot of other things planned here for the podcast. It's gonna be pretty cool. And I think that's pretty much where we're going to leave off. I think next month, next week or so, we're going to be watching Predator Killer of Killers. Who can say when that's going to happen? And we got to catch up on a lot of manga and comics and stuff. It's been crazy here. We have next week. I hope that we're going to have more game announcements to talk about and cover here on the podcast. And we'll try and get as far as I can into Elden Ring and Final Fantasy, and we're gonna just ride it out. Obviously, Donkey Kong is coming up, so I'm excited to put my hands-on experience with that. It's gonna be a good time. Everybody, if it's raining by you, stay dry, stay safe, and have a good rest of your week. Peace.